anyway.
We should get someone from the remote viewers
I
division.
feel like that's not a thing that really exists, Kim. Don't lock your trash. I guess if you're worried about identity theft, that's a whole different thing. Anyway.
They don't pay for the garbage company.
But like, you are. Oh my god, doesn't it seem callous to you? Guarding you and your leftovers from the poor. This game, man.
What are you, Kras Mazov?
Because it's nice and
God
orderly.
damn it.
Palettes. Easy on the eyes.
I'm sure there's nothing important behind that.
Pattern calms your mind. Mammals like this stuff.
Nice.
No, there's more to this. You get this strange feeling.
Feeling is that?
Hard to say. It's gone now. Feelings pass, you see. Especially the small ones.
Good. Good, good, good. Inland Empire is fun. What else do we got? Interactable. I should probably take a look at this here damaged leisure for everyone's play.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow
It's a
papers
pitiful
hanging from a plastic
cabbage.
board, barely held
It's a
together
great way
by
of
a metal
describing a
clip.
bundle of paper.
This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner.
Urinal cleaner.
There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard.
Desperately.
It's a metaphor for you.
It's just a brutal assault game. I don't know why you would come at me like that.
Thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us.
Feel so attacked.
Below the pathetics, terror. Do not look into its blue heart.
We're gonna take a peek through, and as you can see here, it feels like, you know, oh my god, he's just sitting around. He's not accomplishing anything. We're moving our way through this at a pretty decent clip. I mean, I'm not like a speed run or anything here, but
It's just
these
toilet
are all
paper
things that are
sticking
going to
to
move
the
us
back
closer
of
to
the
our
plastic
goal.
clipboard.
And
You can
frankly,
take
we
it
do
off
need
if
to
you
pass
want.
time at a significant clip here, because there's only so much we can do before the Wednesday, you know, when the bridge will be fixed, or the dam, whatever it is, lock. Anyway, there's just toilet paper. Maybe it's kitchen tissue. They look exactly the same. It is cool.
If you want it to be kitchen tissue, it can be kitchen tissue.
It can.
It's not, though. It's toilet paper.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the kitchen
Still
tissue
wet,
off.
the toilet paper. I mean, kitchen tissue.
Right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger, and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better.
You look at that. I'm gonna take a peek. Clip.
An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before.
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property.
Interesting. What kind
It
of
depends.
information?
Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved. How many years you've been on the force, he's thinking. It'll have that.
Indeed. How can I read it?
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do.
Like, for example,
All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
well, that's wonderful.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Thank you for clarifying interfacing. Interfacing is one of the ones I identify with as a human being the most. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. He returns to his neatly kept notes. Dot, dot, dot. You can just tell he's judging you. They don't have to say that.
while a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand.
Wow.
It's a sorry sight.
Just like the juxtaposition, if you will. Here we go. This is going to be useful and valuable. Smell.
The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner.
Of course, yes. That's, oh God, that's just glorious. This stuff of death itself sprinkled. Anyway, okay.
They're not exactly
I forget that I'm
white.
not on camera.
They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense
So I'm
blue
sitting here
handwriting.
trying to like cheese
Ink
it and
escapes
the
into
like.
watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages.
Uh,
The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp
Ow.
that exclaims, "Case files, commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty.
More than 100.
Count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible.
What's
Work,
that all about?
strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But
An
there
odd
are at
naming
least 20,
convention, you say?
maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you.
Huh.
It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average.
That's pretty good, right? That's 2 cases a week, a good case left.
2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes.
Seems I'm a goddamn super cop.
Arson,
Then.
petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter.
There was mention of a naming
Yes,
convention?
it appears you employ a, shall we say,
Again,
robust yet
just digging
ethereal
through this.
system
This is
to
no
each
longer as
investigation
useful
has its
and
case number written on
going
the
to get us through
margins.
as much, but it
Yet,
does get you
still more
experience.
tellingly,
And
most are accompanied by a name.
this shit is comedy. There is a case number, but there's a name.
A title, one might say even.
Title.
One that draws inspiration from Snoop fiction and Vespertine cop show staples.
Vespertine cop show staples. Oh my God, they're written in capital letters still.
All caps. One is called The Next World Mural.
Of
Another,
course.
The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case.
Or
Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout.
the murder at the hookah parlor.
It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
That's pretty good. Okay, so Kim, my cases appear to employ some kind of naming.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene?
No. No, I don't.
Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does.
Why is it that
It's a
we
holdover
have these
from the early
titles?
days of the RCM.
What's that
Right after the
about?
revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things.
Tell me.
It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves.
That's a like really cool concept. So it like implies that there's this ad hoc sort of off the cuff police force that's cropped up here, and it's the Revachol Coalition Militia, I think. That is the RCM, which is the police force that you work for, which came about right after revolution he's talking about here. And it is really funny that they seem to have taken their like initial heading from sort of like, I don't know what I'd call the, oh god, you know, the classic like film noir mysteries and the like. So it's just silly and it's funny. God, I'm trying to remember the like names of the people who wrote those. Mickey Spillane and that's not who I was going for, but the people who wrote those classic like hard-boiled detective type stories. I seem to have a case named the Square Bullet Hole Murders.
Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head.
Eesh.
That was a real person. His
Yeah.
death was real. Still, I named it that to amuse myself.
That shit cuts a little deeper than it should, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal. But he's like, yeah, man, that's, I don't know. It's weird. Seems like that's how we get through this. I don't know.
I pray his loved
Being a
ones never
godfather.
find out.
There you go. It's just like, well, I hope I never have to, like, testify in court about that case or something.
Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
It, well, there's a good chance then. Count the pages.
There is, for precisely one more.
Why?
15
so
pages
fitting.
near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish.
Okay, here we go.
Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. Sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely, but
Oh, God. I'll just use a pencil.
brash freehand, uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple. A language developed for mental rigor and
I
simplicity.
thought it was going to explode or something, you know, like lose the whole ledger. Genuinely, very much concerned about what was about to happen there. Realistically. Wasn't a big deal, as it turns out.
Inspect the victim's body.
We did not
Interview
really do
the
that.
cafeteria manager.
We did
It's
that.
not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place.
Indeed.
A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you.
Good. Look at us go. Just
Things to be done
Yeah.
and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the Citizens Militia.
citizens.
All that
militia, not
remains is
coalition.
to name the case.
Have you,
No, actually. Any ideas?
The Furies are at home in the mirror.
Furies.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I have to be honest. I'm not experiencing the internal strife that it refers to. Could you make it less poetic somehow?
Poetry would be out of place. You said that.
Think.
Sorry.
What would that be?
Conceptual is it?
A good normal name.
Yes, yes. You know what that normal name is. But it's so plain. Anything else, please.
The Hanged Man. That's what it wants. That's what we're supposed to pick. Shit on a stick isn't good. We'll have to try the setting sun. See if it
Okay,
works.
okay. It's a good name, but it has one problem. This case has nothing to do with something more concrete, perhaps?
Oh no, he won't let me do
It's
it.
boring. We
Shit
don't
on
do
a
that.
stick is not gonna work. It's not actually on a stick. There's no shit. And there's no stick. This is we're gonna try it though.
Ah, yes. I have to tell you, officer, I don't appreciate ironic titles. Other officers, they're not going to get it. They're going to think an idiot.
Fine! Hanged Man it is.
That's actually. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
He says sorted this out as though he didn't just force us all into picking the one thing. It's good direction, though.
You don't exactly close them so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now.
Boop.
Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 411201170.
We're not going to acknowledge that because I don't want to take that on. It's too much stress right now. But there's an identifying characteristic there in that HDB.
It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start?
Okay, maybe I should just revisit this. I can do this later.
In the meanwhile, a bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. In the back, you see
yellow paper.
Then rip them from the binder and hand them out. 3. The topmost are
the different forms that we can hand out.
Station calls. And the bottommost, you don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work.
Yup. They are what they are. You can
the rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper.
Good. Alright, put this on away. Got ourselves through a bunch of stuff. And we have another point, which we can go ahead and toss into that there. Endurance. Which we needed. And go on and hope for the best. Which is a shame because we could have gone for the... So this is the way you shouldn't really play the game. It's a little too meta to go through, find a challenge that you need to solve, and put a point in it. But if you have a dump stat that's super hard like this, there will occasionally be challenges that you have to kind of figure out how you're going to get around. One like this, the inspection of the body is a bottleneck. You really can't progress in a lot of ways, as far as I'm aware, without doing that. It's kind of the first step in this whole investigation system. So we want to get that done, and we're gonna move toward it to figure out where it was. But there is a bag which can be found, which you're able to use to grab up a whole mess of bottles and the like, which you can return for money. And I have $60 I need to recover here at some point in order to not be broke and homeless, which is going to be a problem. There it is. Okay, so we begin. And we're going to look in here.
Is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic.
It's tried its best, though, and it's unfortunate. It's treated for its effort. Damn shame, really. The most exciting part of this. I mean, I could just buzz through. You guys probably don't want to watch me dig around for bottles, I guess. And there is a pathway, or a way through that doesn't involve what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm not even sure I can avoid.
Hey! Up here, Piggo!
Up here, Piggo. Did she spill the paint? That's why? How dare she? Boom. Pop up
The
here and
streets
talk
will
to her.
flow red once more. A great torrent, rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
I mean, they're kind of running red a bit here. You know, what with the paint.
The streets will not flow red with anything.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Hep. Yeah. Let's just start with your blood type.
Go where? Accosting a man.
Listen to
Yeah,
your
know
partner,
what?
pig man. Keep your grubby hooves off little old ladies.
Little
The
old.
brush,
ladies.
an artist. The red splatter is
Urban
urban expressionism.
expressionism. Love it. You keep looking out to the
The
side.
lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her.
Does seem to be working better
Someone's
now.
got to keep an eye on her.
You say someone's got to keep an eye
Ozon
on her.
is an archipelago 2 days travel away from
Ozon.
Revachol. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing.
Nailed it.
You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Showing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon.
It's interesting though, because I guess like Kim is, I thought, native Revachol, but he has this like French accent. She's got this kind of English standard, or an English standard, but like, I don't know, London English, probably accent. I'm not 100% sure. Bad on the regional dialects there, but I'm curious where this all maps out in their heads. The folks who designed this, if there was consideration. There was consideration for a lot of small details like this, so I wouldn't be entirely shocked to learn that there's a logic to that sort of distinction that's occurred. So do you know anything?
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's.
All right,
Actually,
fine.
There is a
Snitches
shortage
get
of
stitches,
people
all
who
that.
talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
Yeah, well.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
Fuck off. That was an unnecessary addition, but, you know. Free speech, I guess. But yeah,
Can't
what
you
you doing?
tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
So you don't know what to write.
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a
Graffitio.
blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mono is here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so...
It's true. I mean, that would make that a not super great option for you to pick. Mona was here and all. Why are you submitted to the facing building? I have an opinion. I love public art.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me.
That's how you
now
keep
that I have an
kids from
official RCM
defacing
stamp of
buildings.
approval.
She means the opposite.
Exactly. That was the plan. You see, it was reverse psychology, Cindy. I got you.
Watch your back, ungulate.
Ungulate.
Eyes
Dude,
on
that's
you.
good. That's fucking good shit. Your room in the whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop. That's an interesting way of phrasing that, rather than like the sloop is about the same size as your built room in the whirling or something like that. This is worth more than you'll ever earn. your life. Again, laying on top. I think that's like an intentional framing as this boat is the size of the room you
A
rented.
striking woman
Rather
leans
than-
against the cabin top of her sailing boat,
Like, kinda-
smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is
Hi.
tied around her throat.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce.
Good.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Indeed. What does the L stand for?
Leighton, my maiden name.
Like, bony hand dangles from this oversized ring. Oh, she's still trying to shake her hands. RCM, what's that?
I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia, the police.
I thought that might give us a bonus of some variety.
I'm glad to see you here.
Your grip is tight and cold.
Like steel,
Like.
there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That'd be.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from a...
I haven't said anything to that
unusual
effect from him, to him yet.
Very unusual.
Usually,
Assure you of his ultimate competency.
I have at some point said something to the effect of like, "Oh my god, I don't remember anything."
There's a
or
trace
so
of
on and so
irony
forth, but-
in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
But it is funny that this is like he's just kind of pulled that out of the air in this universe.
How interesting.
Although it's probably not.
I wish you a
Nothing
swift
reasonable.
recovery.
That's not
In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
You're on a boat.
Why, yes, I am.
Not a lot of people on boats, are
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
there? Wait.
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Okay.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas a la Mer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is
Get-
not an archipelago.
Got.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike.
Okay. But like the boats not being common thing is still an accurate observation. You're making it a whole deal to act like everybody's got boats. Boats are real. It's normal. It's just a way that people get around.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
All right, I don't appreciate the sounds that you're making with the mouth.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle.
And-
It's for crossing long distances in a greater
Mhm.
Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Yes, that's that Caprice Kinema we heard earlier. By the way, we hear when we were awakening, we heard the sound of that, not knowing what either of those words meant.
Neither is this. A
Nor
toy, I
why we
mean.
need
It's a
sound.
machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the island.
Yeah, I mean, Kim, you've kind of
We need
ruined
to
our
make
ability.
This lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she.
Yes, I
Before
do.
you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat. of
Boat.
hers.
This alleged boat of hers. Does
boat?
she have a name?
No, it is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Okay, but what
It's a pleasure
kind of
craft,
boat?
a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
It's a race boat.
My sloop, I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
Okay, eels hips, baby. Just
I'm
that
enjoying
I
this
like
part
it.
of the interview.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Do I go from here? Or do I ask about the license? I'm gonna go
Oh
from here.
my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Class wartime, baby. The bad kind of capital. That's super funny. The subjugation to foreign capital. Precision. We're gonna go.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier...
Then what does that say? Does 33A, this old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats of all social strata.
Fire back quick. Do you live here? That's what I want this to say, but I don't have confidence this is actually gonna succeed.
Your synapses flash.
Okay. Doesn't seem much space around with this 19-pace sloop docked here. Funny, I'm seeing other eels heels around. It was eels hips. Ooh, I say. Although eels heels does rhyme, and I'm guessing that that's more like what they were going for. But eels hips, colloquially, makes more sense if you think of like it's the bee's knees. The eel's heels rhymes, but the eel's hips is more on. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think bees have right knees, so not having hips that fits. We're gonna go ahead and say that this was built before the revolution.
Okay, it is anti-centennial.
If you know what
I
I mean.
assure you, they drove quite a hard bargain for this space. But you're right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois officer. I assure you, I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft.
There it is again. I
operator.
should have started with that. It would have led in with the
The
extra
crowns of
pleasure.
her teeth are porcelain. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act.
That's what she said.
A law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
That's good. If my authority were higher, however, I feel that it could at least say yes, you could do X, Y, and Z, or even force you further into a
Good.
certain fork of the dialogue tree, which sometimes is really hilarious. Okay, so please tell me that.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade
Wait,
secrets.
but what if I
First,
wanna
you'd
hear
have to
about it?
repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and
An
Allies.
octopus
which
house!
gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
I won't. Why wouldn't the octopi do their best, and they're not hurting
I am
anybody?
glad you see it that way. To repeal the act would mean repealing the coalition government, the one that leases you the right to...
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot.
Well,
In other words.
okay.
I am derailing us. You wanted to know
I'll
about
say you
the
are,
strike?
ma'am. Jeez. I do. What's your role?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In
Ba-dum.
practice, I'm a grocery
No,
clerk.
that's
I relay
false.
the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild
I don't
Pines'
even understand
counteroffer.
that it's a grocery clerk. More like a male one, I think.
And how are the talks going?
Hearing
They're not.
certain.
That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Yeah, no, it seems like that might be a thing. That would
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth
2 meter
blocking the gates.
I wonder if that's really like how it's phrased. I don't know, England height parlance or European height parlance, I guess. But see, I don't even know what like England would use for height. I think that they use meters and the like, but they switch around a fair amount. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and
Let's
toss.
say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first?
I arrived 3 weeks ago.
3
Yes,
weeks
in the middle of
ago.
February. The bay was still partial.
But the strike began in December.
Checks notes. December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here.
Mm.
I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
And that's right, we get to the heart of this all. A labor dispute.
Heavens knows.
Very mysterious.
There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan.
Wait, so they didn't have
This time their demands are more,
or like
I guess you could say, aggressive.
But like, all right, so overtime pay, not an unreasonable expectation. That like past a certain number of hours per week that you should get paid more, and a medical plan, which, I mean, in America, obviously that seems like not a regular thing to ask for, but it's not that crazy, I swear. Anyway, what do they want now?
It's meant.
What are their
Leaflets
demands?
everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Over-aggressive commie posture. Probably.
You might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
Not hard communist enough for me. It is weak, though.
Personally, I agree. It lacks the pizzazzo of every worker a member
Pizzazzo.
of the board.
What exactly do they mean by it, though?
It's
is
quite
that?
simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what,
You
about
suppose
anything,
this is
really,
exactly
it
what they
needs
mean?
the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Or that maybe that, like, that's an oversimplification from the perspective of somebody who...
Just so you understand, this is but
Yeah.
one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also
That
kings
word.
of the 72,000 employees of
Kings.
Wild Pines Group.
Kings.
An
We're supposed to be
opening
down with
gambit,
that.
Surely.
Sounds like an opening gamut. Although, yeah, to be real, every, worker or member of the board isn't, like, literally super viable. Probably, I assume. I'm not sure. I feel like running a company by, like, referendum would be complicated, depending on the scale. That's pretty funny, I have to admit. The workers can't be kings. That's only with the workers. I'm tempted to push, the communist press along. It gives you that thought. But I'm going to say it sounds like an
So
opening
I
gamut.
hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer.
Yeah,
I've yet to hear one. Just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
That's agreeable.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
Indeed. That it was a lynching as well, because I think we've heard that twice now.
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates.
The
The
boya.
one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Boyadera.
This checks out.
I haven't been to the gate yet.
Mr. Clare told him to
Gaumont is
How
the
did he put
previous
it?
negotiator. Double check back at that.
fuck off.
Eesh.
Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Well, that doesn't seem great. So, we get, tell me about
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
always.
She's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
Real.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt.
I figured
I
it was
imagine
more like
he
I
has a
said
thick,
it, but I think
viscous goo where you and I have blood.
we're gonna do a dot
He
dot
is the
dot
most
on this one.
corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait a minute.
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
It's actually like a really cool production concept as well. Like you can then voice these two different characters with one person and move your way through pretty effectively, where you progress the story along, and include one or the other to swap one out, for example, or vice versa. It would give you really a ton of freedom to do so. That's pretty cool.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see.
And then
A
also
funny
this.
little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
The like sort of bureaucratic manipulation of being able to exceed term limits by them being consecutive term limits rather than cumulative, I guess. What about the union itself? Let's go to
The
Claire.
Debardeurs Union was once a
Debardeur,
perfectly normal
Debardeur.
institution. 20 years ago, anyway.
Gotta be Doc.
It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that.
It's interesting that the implication is that it's really hard to make a union under this act, whatever it is that
Organised
gives
labour at
everybody
its best,
the
as they say. Then something
organization.
happened in the local chapter elections.
As it
The
is.
brothers Clare came and transformed it into a, how do you say?
A mob.
Im-
The Debardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
That's very much like the Teamsters Union, or at least the sentiment of the New York Teamsters Union of decades past. Anyway, no longer probably the same, like default
Refreshingly honest,
assumptions.
officer.
I think, but
The company has tried appeasing in the past,
sorta
but I'm afraid
giving
our
off
concessions
air.
have only emboldened Everard and his brother.
dun,
And your
dun.
opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardeurs
Dun,
Union
dun,
is...
dun, dun. An effective advocate for the rights of the local working men. Basically, a socialist mob is not like a false description either, and like that's not. I mean, the more we find out, the more true that statement tends to be, I think. But we're gonna go
Why do
ahead
you
and
think so?
go ham.
What she calls corruption is simply an aesthetic category.
Talking in aesthetic categories is the privilege of the overclass. That's that Mazov. Measurehead. This union sounds like a motley crew. I'm into it. We don't have those yet. They're all Ravishal. I'm all Ravishal too. They're good labormen. Can't fault them. I'm gonna go ahead.
Point taken. But enough about Everard. What else can I do for you?
Talking in aesthetic categories is the privilege of the overclass. Very good. Karl Mazov, no doubt. Here. You said something happened.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections,
Mhm.
a reporter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Downright haunting,
Eerie.
if you ask me. The Wild Pines
Eerie.
suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter.
I mean, I
The
guess
point of the
you
presentation
can like
is,
call cops,
these kinds
maybe,
of
but
things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
fair
Thank
enough.
you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
I mean, it's a bold play to do away with the
course.
cops in an
How else can I help?
precinct operation. Tell me about the White Plains, or what, Wild Pines?
Of course.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Of course.
Let me go back. Boom.
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
We haven't, or at least I haven't. It's interesting though. Airships are an inclusion of this like aesthetic. It's good.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Relics of the
Jean-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown
Monarchy
entity
imperialism.
known as Brightest Star.
East Loom. You're in good.
Why, thank you.
How much money?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
The money I owe is so much less than.
Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend. A conglomerate the
imagine.
size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops
72,000
moving,
employees,
it will
those
die.
honestly, I
Then
mean,
what
that's a
becomes of
huge
those
number.
72,000
I
families?
feel like
It is a
in
tremendous
the size
responsibility.
of super corpos, it's like big, but not enormous. I'd have to look into it. Where do you get
Started
them?
as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Easterlers 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormantang on behalf of the suzerain.
On behalf of the suzerain, which is the king.
Centuries of
Yeah,
care,
this one here.
deliberation, and madness
Well, that's
have gone into this
250 years
endeavor.
ago, I guess,
Vessels
whatever
pass through the
region.
great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system
Apricots.
is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
It probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed.
Bye.
To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
Well, okay, but who were they absorbed by? Because it's not like random companies. It's another Indo tribe, probably. One of these, you know, I guess, state companies that were engineered at the beginning. Interesting, though. What is a huge system? Why?
I mean, aside
With a
from
place
being
like
the
this.
terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for
yes.
moving 8% of the world's cargo.
8% of the world's cargo going through one port. I wonder what that's comparable to. I'm sure there is one in the world. Not one that I know of. You don't keep it moving. The workers going nothing with that. That's
There are
quite the
no
endeavor.
minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire
Got
system
another
break.
thought out of that
Every
pick.
hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Let's see if we can't take a look at it here. 15th Indo. Spring to your head. Set loose at the mention. Pines, royal monopolies, octopuses, and swordfish. Most of them gone now. YBP. Expanders. San Baptiste. Brightest Star. LUM. Resplendent. East Insulindic. Welter. Welter? And El Cassad. But isn't one mitten missing? Mitten? Isn't one mitten? Wait, no. We're only 14. Why do you feel like there's a 15th Indo tribe? Another 6 hours here. I've not had this one before, so we're gonna go ahead and internalize, get that timer started. As we take a look here, we are still 3 hours and 10 minutes off from the lonesome long way home. Upon completion, I think that we will be able to, either keep hold of it or look at getting rid of it. But I think it costs another point if we don't want it there. If we want to clear up that slot again, essentially. But cycling back into this conversation, there are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen. I mean, we live in a world of a supply chain disruption or whatever.
With your
right?
help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
We'll see. I mean, realistically, we're just people, right? Small members, cogs in the machine, as you said. No minor cogs in the systems, but still, there are places that aren't as critical as others. What can you
Quite a
tell
few
me
things,
about
I'm afraid.
lynching? She falls silent for a moment, contemplating
The
something.
information I'm to share
Ba-dink.
with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
That's gonna be a problem. What with us not actually having our badge and all?
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41.
My badge. Yeah, of course, my badge. That I have on
He
me.
looks at you expectantly. Then it dawns on him.
I
How
don't
curious.
actually have it.
Why is that, detective?
Remember that unusual matter class? I was
see.
connected.
So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
I could have eaten it, for all I know. I don't remember anything. The world, this city, nothing.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to
Encephalopathic.
respond.
Encephalopathic. Why would that be the word? Because it's so encephalo is like in your head. Here as I'm able to determine by my totally uneducated opinion. Pathic would be so like telepathic, and amnesia. That I feel like the construction of that phrase is meaningful in a way that I'm not able to fully wrap my head around, which could be a pun were I familiar with the definition of the term they're using here. Moving on.
I do believe you, naive as that may sound.
Honestly,
I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
it's a good point, though.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the
Truly
RCM.
the greatest of officers in the RCM. And militia. Man.
Of course,
Yeah.
I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a
Okay.
professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
I'm not going to hit that yet because 11. And it's a red check. Let's talk about something else.
Of course, the situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
Here's what we're going
It's
to do.
what you want to say. Look at that lady. Take a.
You seem rich. Can I have some money?
Squint your eyes, bub.
Since I skipped across it, let me just run through here. You seem rich. Can I have some money? Inland Empire cuts in. Is what you want to say? But it isn't that easy, isn't it? I'd say back. Why not? Look at the lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. What nice fabrics. With lustrous hair. Nice
Why,
fabrics.
yes.
Why?
Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat.
Mm-hmm.
Dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry. Wealth and all its possibilities.
Hard. Yeah.
These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible within reason.
Yeah.
Now look at you. You miserably clad
Inland. What's your deal,
able to
dude? You
tie
need
your
to
own
chill on
laces.
this.
Your armpits are lakes. A scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to
A
your forehead.
scythe
and your
of
underwear
booze
is on.
precedes you. As a way of just So yeah, this all does originate in a novel, as I understand. I think it's Robert Kurvitz or something to that effect. I'm fuzzy on the names, but you can see in some of the prose here, it's just
You're
good.
Poor
Good.
as balls.
You
You can't
poor as
ask this person
balls.
for money. You're too.
I'm a goddamn working man. To shake this leech for some shit dough. I'm not ashamed, as it should be. I'm considering it as a woman and I'm a man, which is another, the hard chauvinist line is another track, a thought cabinet addition that you can make. Yes, I should make my own goddamn money by now. I'm a goddamn working man. I'm not ashamed to shake this leech.
You
for
think
some
your little
dough.
communism protects you from this feeling?
I
No.
thought it did.
The more demeaning it is to grovel at her feet.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
Volition. So yeah, this is again, it's in the psyche, the purple side of things, which is more like your emotional intelligence, as it were. But so this is a like a willpower check. Volition is essentially like a will save, or volition to do something of your own volition, whatever. Come on,
Voila.
you seem rich. Can I have some
Why,
money?
yes, I am rich. How much money do you need? Hopefully not too much. I couldn't bring all of it with me.
Why isn't it that easy?
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's letting on?
I need 60 real. 10,000 is too unreasonable. That's not gonna work. I'm gonna go with I need
Good
60.
sum, not too small, not fantastically large.
Paper notes.
She removes
Boom!
and hands them to you.
Ow!